Hello everybody, this is Chris back again with another video. Just as a reminder, I will be doing reviews, walk-arounds on, well, unless of course it's something that's really rare or cool. My focus is going to be wagons and manual transmission vehicles. So I'll be doing some of my own vehicles, other ones that I come across, some I might even just purchase for content. But today we're going to be taking a look at my 2000 Toyota Crown Estate. So this vehicle was imported from Japan. This was never offered in the United States. I waited a couple of years for this vehicle. This is the third one that I have imported. I had a Toyota Vista and a Nissan Primera Camino, which was a manual station wagon. That one is sold, but hopefully the gentleman that I sold it to will allow me to do a video one day of that. So this vehicle actually has a small issue, and I will get to the problem that it has here shortly. But I waited a couple of years for this. If you're not familiar with importing of Japanese vehicles, it has to be exactly 25 years old. So this one was manufactured in March of 2000, which means I could not import it until March of 2025. So I purchased this the day after Christmas of 2024, and it arrived the second week of March this year. As you can see, it is extremely clean. Most Japanese vehicles have cloth interiors. Sunroofs are also somewhat rare in Japanese vehicles. This one happens to have one. I kind of wish it did not, but it does. This vehicle has 104,000 kilometers, which is about 65,000 miles. When you purchase vehicles from Japan, they generally will have a grade, auction grade, and this one had an auction grade 4, which is really good, seeing as 5 is the top. I don't necessarily agree with the grading on this vehicle, and I will tell you why shortly. I'll show you a few issues that it has around the body, and I'll also tell you what all of those boxes are for. The Nissan Primera Camino that I just mentioned had an auction grade of 3.5, and that one probably should have had a 4, maybe even a 4.5. This one probably should have had a 3.5. Now, it's extremely clean, and it has very, very low miles, so that probably helped it out. But there are definitely some issues, particularly around the bottom. Since I'm right here, let me just show you. You'll see that touch-up paint that doesn't match very well, spider cracking there. As I mentioned in one of my previous videos, I don't clean these up and spit shine them and all of that. Some wear around the edges of the door. It did not come with these wheels. I put these wheels on there. I will put a picture up of the wheels that it came with. There's another body area right there. I'll talk about these things shortly. My intent was to probably get the whole bottom half of the car painted. You'll see some of those touch-up areas down there. But I happen to have another Crown Estate on the way. We'll be here within the next couple of weeks. So this one is actually going to be sold with the issue that it has that I'm going to talk about here shortly. So just want to walk around and just show you some of the body issues, touch-up paint, and I mean, it's not huge problems, but you know, for something that had an auction grade of 4, that's not exactly what I would expect. These little license plates, pretty cool. They light up, and I'll show you that shortly. If you've never driven a right-hand drive vehicle, it's very interesting because you keep going to the wrong side just because what we're used to over here. It takes a little getting used to, but some people hate it. I enjoy it. On the manual transmission, it was a little difficult because the shift pattern is exactly the same as it is over here, with first gear to your left and up. So that felt a little strange. This car it runs very well, but it does have a code for a something with a high pressure fuel circuit. I'm not exactly sure what the problem is. I've done several things to try to address it, and I can't figure it out. So again, it's going to be ultimately sold as it sits. So I'm going to go ahead and start it up. Let me show you. This thing has 3 keys. One of them is a remote key, and then a valet key, and then a regular key. It did come with all 3. The remote key is currently not working, but it just needs a battery, I'm pretty sure. So as you see, it fires right up. Check engine light is on. 104,000 kilometers, as I mentioned earlier. About 65,000 miles, more like 64,000 and a half, something like that. Just to show a few things inside. I'm thankful that this does not have the navigation. I would prefer it to not have it because it's going to be in Japanese and unusable. This AC works nice and cold. Oh, sorry about that. I'll get to that in a second. Of course, everything is in Celsius instead of Fahrenheit. AC blows super cold. One of the coolest things that I noticed about this car is this swing button. And what that does is, if you'll notice that those vents are now moving. So that little button actually makes those vents move back and forth by themselves, which is simple, but still cool. Now, this car had, let me turn that off because it's loud. Car had a 6-disc changer as well as a tape player from the factory. Now, the funny thing is that the CD player, I could not get it to load, but the tape player actually works. So children, in case you're not aware, these are tapes, and this is what we used to listen to our music on before everything was digital and on telephone. So I'm just going to pop this old LL Cool J tape that I found in and show you that it actually works. So, well, hold on, I'm sure I can flip sides without physically flipping it, but I'm not exactly sure how. So, but the tape player works. That booming system tape I've had since, I believe, 91, and it still works. So I thought that was pretty cool that the tape player at least works. Another thing to point out about these Japanese vehicles is the FM range. So the FM range is only going to go from 76, I believe, up to the mid 80s. So most of the radio stations in the United States, you will not be able to pick up. Very, very low range. So it looks like 89, 90 to 76. So 76 to 90 is the extent of the FM range. Car has never been smoked in. All the normal things that you would see, typical Lexus power, snow. This is a rear-wheel drive 2JZ FSE, and I'll talk about that when I talk about the issues in just a moment. It does have this cool little cubby hole up here. Regular glove box with some paperwork and some relays and so forth in it. Little cubby holes here. I mentioned these in a video I did of my 87 Toyota Camry wagon. That's where I used to keep change, and a couple of compartments up here. So since I'm at this point now, I'm going to go ahead and plug in the code reader, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the issue that this car is having. So the 2JZ FSE was not a engine that was brought to the United States. The 2JZ engine that was in the United States was a 2JZ GE. So this one is currently having a problem with something that has to do with the high pressure fuel pump, I believe. So you have to get a code reader that is specific to Japan. You cannot use a regular OBD code reader that you may have here because it, for some reason, it just will not read it. And of course, now that I'm doing this video, this is acting silly as well. So I'm not exactly sure what's wrong with it. It definitely sees the car because when you plug these code readers in, all of those lights on the dash start going crazy. All right, looks like it started doing something. So maybe it's just taking a while. But the car, as you can hear, is running fine. I can pull off in it. It goes in all the gears and everything, but for some reason, it just will not accelerate. It will not accelerate. It will also not rev up. So let me show you what I'm talking about. When I press the gas, this is all it does. That's it. So I'm not exactly sure what the problem is, but I've done several things to try to figure it out, and none of them so far have worked. Oh, that's why this wasn't doing, because I didn't select the right thing. So my apologies. This is for Toyota. It is now communicating, and looks like there was an error. So let me just unplug it and plug it back in. As I was saying earlier, this is a 2JZ FSE, which is different from the 2JZ GE. That was the common engine in Toyotas in the United States. The difference is that the 2JZ FSE, which is in this vehicle, has a high pressure fuel pump, and that high pressure fuel pump was supposed to help with emissions without taking away any power from the vehicle. Now, it's technology that we did not get here for many years after 2000, but they had it in Japan. So here's the code, P1235 for high pressure fuel pump circuit. So I have ordered another fuel pump from Japan, put it in, didn't change anything. I got an ECU, thought maybe that was it. But the ECU, of course, has to be keyed. So it has an immobilizer, which is this little security light, a little security thing right there. So those are the boxes that you saw on the back, the immobilizer and the ECU. So I'm not exactly sure what the problem is, but I have reached my level of expertise with trying to figure it out. So this car will be sold just like it is, and I'm just going to take the loss and move on. Again, I have another Crown Estate on the way. That one has a 1JZ all-wheel drive, and I'm sure I'll do a video about that one at some point as well. All right, so moving on. One of the cool things, a couple of the cool things about these cars is all of them that I have gotten so far, these mirrors fold in, power folding mirrors. I guess that was just a thing. Again, everyone I've gotten from Japan so far has that feature. One of the other things is when you put it into reverse, there's an audible beep inside the vehicle. You don't hear it outside, but there's an audible beep inside the vehicle. So I thought that was pretty cool. All right, let me hop out here and show you the engine. With the exception of that high pressure fuel pump that I mentioned, everything else looks pretty much the same as well, it's covered with plastic, as a regular 2JZ. Has some of these stickers in Japanese where, it shows you 134 for the AC. Back in this area is where that high pressure fuel pump is, right behind that cover right there. So runs well, nice and quiet, but for some reason it will not accelerate or rev up. This car has HID headlights and amber fog lights. HID headlights, amber fog lights. And these little things, whatever they are, they light up. I'm not exactly sure what they are, but at night it's pretty cool because they light up in like a greenish hue. All right. Now this is the point of the video where I would normally take a drive, but I can't really drive it because it's not accelerating, but it does move. It goes into all gears. It will go down the road without a problem. Let me turn it off and turn it back on so that all those lights aren't flashing. Okay. Now, while I'm in here, I'll go ahead and do a big guy score. So I'm going to give this probably about a 7. It's pretty comfortable. I prefer the cloth over the leather, to be honest with you. Sorry about the stick coming into view on the left hand side of the camera. I'll give it about a 7. I mean, it's comfortable enough. It's this steering wheel is power, and it goes up and down and telescopes and comes in and out, all of that good stuff. But 7 is probably where I'm going to stay. It also has the ability, you see these down buttons on the back side of the steering wheel. There's another button for upshifts. So you're actually able to manually shift this when you put it in the DM here. You see up there, you're actually able to manually shift the gears. You see how it's moving and going through, which is another pretty cool feature for 2000 Japan vehicle. So let's turn on the air conditioning, and I'm going to go ahead and drive off and again just show you that it does move under its own power. Let me turn this down so you can hear me. Yep, it moves under its own power, but it just will not accelerate and does not rev up. So I don't know exactly what it is, but as I mentioned, I have reached the end of my abilities to troubleshoot, or my desire to troubleshoot, especially since I have 2 more on the way. All right, well, that's going to do it. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. If you're interested in this vehicle, please let me know. I will be posting it very, very soon. I just got the last piece of paperwork that I needed to get the title, so it'll be for sale soon if you're interested. Thanks for watching the video. I'll see you next time.